we all have the same 24 hours, okay? Everybody has the same 24 hours in their day. The problem is, okay, not all of us use it as effectively as others. Why does Bill Gates, why does Warren Buffett, why does Elon Musk is a perfect example. That guy is super prolific. Why is it that he can get so much done? Take it to the entertainment realm. How is it that Snoop Dogg is everywhere? He's on Corona commercials. He's on TV with Martha Stewart. He's doing concerts. He's on records. Every new artist that comes out, he's somehow like featured on their songs. Why? Because the guy does a lot with the time that he's given. Real estate agents are absolutely no different. The people that are everywhere at once or seem to be, it's because they're prolific. It's because they do two things. They manage their time properly and they manage the perception of their company properly. And those are two different things. But the most important was going to put the most amount of dollars in your pocket and leave you with the most amount of satisfied clients is managing your time effectively, right? So the question is, how do we do it? We're going to break it down today. Okay, guys, so let's go to here. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so far and away, bar none, right? There are 3 activities that are going to be the most important for you, right? They are prospecting, presenting, and follow up, guys. And do me a favor, guys, give me an estimate, okay? And it's going to be in a number, it's going to be in the chat. And we're a small group today. We're a nice, small, intimate group. So we're not going any further until everybody types in the chat, okay? What percentage of your day is spent prospecting, presenting, and following up? So if you work 8 hours a day, if it's 2 hours doing those 3 activities, put 25%, okay? Jamie says 3 what? 3 hours or 3 hours? Okay, cool. All right, good. Okay, so that's prospecting, presenting, and following up. Good. I love that. Okay, who else? Laura, Rosa, Jay says 2 hours. Okay, good. Rosa says 50. All right, love it, love 50%. Good. Okay, what this comes down to, guys, okay, is the more you prospect, present, and follow up, the more you are getting in front of clients and getting the type of business that's going to enable you to control your income, okay? When you're prospecting, presenting, and following up, that means you are reaching out to people for new business. Guys, okay, and now this is the circle of trust here, guys, okay? No judgment-free zone, okay? Because everything I tell you not to do is stuff that I have done myself. So I'm only speaking from experience. I'm not bashing anybody. But how many of you guys, give me a +1 in the chat, okay? How many of you guys have ever, wasted your time and like you got a deal and like you spent way too much time on the deal, and then by the time you finally close that deal, you're like, oh man, my pipeline's empty again because I spent all my time and you took away from the time you should be spending prospecting and put it all onto babysitting one deal. How many of you guys are guilty of that? Rose is guilty of it. Okay, that's fair. Okay, cool. Who else? Jay, Jamie, Laura. Laura is guilty. No deals yet. New agent, 2 months. Oh, awesome. Jamie, you're in the right place. Awesome. Love it, love it, love it. Jay says +1. Okay, cool. All right. And we're all being honest because I've done it, you know? And you know when that happens? That happens when you have so few deals, right? That all you can do is babysit the ones that you have because you are terrified that you don't know when the next one's going to come. Okay. And then I speak from experience, guys. The reason that happens is because you're not prospecting, presenting, and following up. The reason is if you were prospecting, presenting, and following up, you would allot X amount of time to deal with deals, right? But you're so busy doing other things, you don't have time to babysit any one deal. The other thing is, guys, when you have 5 properties under contract at the same time in commercial, okay, if one falls out, it's not a big deal. I mean, it might be a lot of money, but it's not a big deal, right? Because like if you're like, oh, well, that's $30,000 less I'll make this month, but I've got 4 other deals just like it in the pipeline. You guys with me? Okay. So what I'm trying to impress upon you guys is if you stick to the basics, don't let the tail wag the dog. If you're always working on the front end, you're always prospecting, reaching out, presenting, following up, reaching out, new. The old stuff is what's going to happen is going to happen. You know, you can try to keep deals together, but there are a lot of things that happen in deals that are outside of your control. And there's nothing that you're going to do about it to save them. And there's no amount of babysitting that's going to save them. So does it make sense to spend 2 hours of your day babysitting a deal that's going to die anyhow? Or take that same exact 2 hours and make 100 phone calls or make 75 phone calls and create new opportunities for yourself so you don't have to worry too much, right? All right, ladies, for those of you on here, it's like if you had 10 guys asking you to the prom, would you be a little bit pickier? Would you be a little bit, like nonchalant about it? Of course, right? As opposed to the only boy that came and asked you to the prom, you want to make sure, he's your only chance to go to the prom and you really, really want to go to the prom, right? It's like that. So what I'm getting at, guys, is super duper important to understand. The more you spend on these 3 activities, the more money you will make. I'm going to say that again. The more money you want to make, the more time you should be spending prospecting, presenting, and following up. Now, we're going to get into the cool stuff, right? Can anybody tell me, okay, and I want an answer from everybody because we're a small group today. Can anybody tell me what your biggest expense is in life? This is a philosophical question. Jamie says time. Okay, I like that. Biggest expense. Okay, all right, good guess. Jay says agreed. Okay, all right, time. All right. What about Rosa? What about Laura? What do you guys think the biggest expense is in Rosa? Okay, all right, all right. I didn't mean to. Okay, everyone thinks it's time. I'm glad because you're about to learn something. Okay, your biggest expense in life. A lot of people think it's time. They think it's their mortgage. They think it's their car payment. They think it's their child support. They think it's this. They think it's that. It's not. Your biggest expense in your entire life is lack of knowledge. Now, hear me out. Guys, if you knew how to make $1 million today, don't you think you'd be making it? Okay. So now what I want everyone to do as a quick little exercise, write down on a piece of paper. You don't have to put it in the chat if you don't want to make it public, but write down what you want to make next year. Okay. And then underneath that, write down what you made last year. Okay. And then subtract what you made last year from what you want to make next year. Okay. So let's say next year you want to make 400,000. This year you made 200,000. 400 minus 200, you're left with 200. And circle that. Okay. Put a big circle around it. And then I want you to write these 3 letters next to it, guys. G A P. Okay. What that is the gap in your knowledge. That is the gap in your skill set. More importantly, that $200,000 is what it costs you every single year, or whatever the number is for you. It's what it costs you every single year. That's what you're paying life to not know the skills that you want to, that are going to make you that $1 million, going to make you that 400,000, that are going to make you that $500,000. Okay. When you don't know how to do something, it costs you money. Your lack of knowledge is what's costing your money. So your lack of knowledge is the biggest expense, right? So if I want to make $1 million this year and last year I made $500,000, guess what? It cost me I paid life $500,000 out of my pocket because I didn't know how to make that $1 million. So by the same rationale, would it make sense to go out and get the skills, to go out and get the knowledge so that you can earn the money that you know you're capable of? Okay, so hopefully that'll put this whole lesson into perspective. The more you learn, the more you earn. That's not just a catchy rhyme. It's not just a catchy saying. That's how the world works. Your biggest expenses and what you don't know. It's not what you do know. It's what you don't know. Okay, so what we need to do, guys, is we need to figure out, how to do more of the prospecting, presenting, and following up. Okay. So the question is, how do we go about carving up our day to figure out how you're going to spend your day so that you can get as much time on the prospecting, presenting, and following up. And going back to the previous point, guys, how many of you guys, but if just type a 1 in the chat, how many of you guys, that was a little bit of an eye opener, like how much it's costing you not to know how to do the things that you want to do, right? Was that helpful for anybody? Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So let's go about figuring out how to make more money, guys. This is the knowledge that we're trying to teach you here. Okay. We need to figure out how to do more of the top 3. So what you do is you take a flow chart. Okay. Now, in my business, the way I do brokerage, I go after sellers. I don't play around with buyers unless I have sold their property for them, and I certainly don't do leasing. I did that for many, many years. I've been doing leasing since 2003, unless it's a very close associate or someone I've already done business with. I stay away from it and I refer it out and get a nice little chunk of it, right? But what you want to do is you want to take and do a flow chart of your business. What does that mean? In my case, it's find a property, research the property, research the owner, dial through the owner's name, through the owner's possible phone numbers. Then it's dial the owner to get the meeting. Then it's do evaluation of the property. Then it's do a listing presentation. Then it's list the property, get a signed listing agreement. Then it's put it on LoopNet, MLS, CoStar, Then it's create a flyer, and then you market it, yada yada yada. And then at the end of the day, you sell it, you collect, and you put the money in the bank, right? So I created I think it was 14 steps or something like that, and all the little individual steps below. But what you want to do is you want to look at all the steps. You want to understand, because most people are like, oh, my business is so complicated. No, it's not. I promise you. It's no more than 14 or 15 steps in your business. Real estate is not that complicated. We are not building rockets and putting them on Mars. We're helping people buy buildings and sell buildings and buy homes and sell homes. That's it. That's all we're doing. So it's only about 14 steps, right? So if you break it down, you will soon see, I don't need to do this. I could pay somebody to do that. You could pay a college kid to research buildings for you. You can pay a college kid to research people for you. Gary Keller said it best. He said, if you don't have an admin, you are one. Okay. Which means if you don't have someone to do that $15 an hour work for you, you're doing work that's only worth $15 an hour. $15 an hour times 2,000 work hours in a year, 50 weeks a year, 40 hours a week, that's 2,000 hours. That means you're going to get paid $30,000. Last I checked, anyone on here, I'm sure you do not want to make $30,000 next year, right? So my point being is what you want to do, guys, is you want to be doing the things that are the highest money value. So what does that mean? Prospecting, presenting, and following up. Those are three things that you cannot outsource, okay? You can outsource someone to make a flyer for you. You can outsource someone to put something on LoopNet, MLS, CoStar. You can outsource answering phone calls. You can about properties and sending out email packets and stuff. You can outsource all that stuff, guys, but you cannot outsource the communication and the connection that you create with people on the phone. With me? So step 2 is create the flow chart and then delegate as much of that stuff as you can as possible, right? What you need, guys, at a certain point, how many of you guys, by a show of hands, and when I say a show of hands, type the number 2 in the chat, right? That's all of you guys, okay? Because the more senses you use, the more you're going to remember this information, okay? But how many of you guys, you're working as hard as you possibly can, there are no more hours left to work, or else your wife or husband or partner or whatever is going to shoot you, okay? So you want to make sure you use the hours that you have most effectively. What's the fastest way to multiply yourself? Get help, whether it's admins, whether it's freelancers, whether it's contractors, whatever that is, guys, I promise you, having people help you allowed you to cast a much wider net. So I work 10 hours a day, sometimes 12, but mostly 10, right? So that's 60 hours a week because I like to work Saturdays. I love my work. I love what I do. But the point is, guys, I can turn out 200 hours of work a week. Why? Because I have multiple people doing work for me. So in a 24-hour day, I work 10 hours, right? But then I have 2 other people working 8 hours. So that's 10 plus 8 plus 8, that's 26. And then I have another person that's kind of part-time. So she might work another 3 or 4 hours. So the point is, guys, I am responsible for 30 hours of work a day. Last I checked, there aren't 30 hours of work, but the way you're able to multiply yourself and multiply your effectiveness is to hire people, okay? So whether it's a part-time admin, whether it's a college kid that's off for the summer, whether it's your niece or nephew or cousin and they just need a couple extra bucks on the side, you can go to Upwork. You can pay people 10 or 15 bucks an hour. You can go to Fiverr. You can and do things that are project-based. There's all sorts of things out there. You can hire admins in the Philippines for like $5 or $6 an hour, guys. I mean, it's insane how little you can pay if it's kind of like repetitive work, right? So the point is, the faster you Figure out what you need to do, figure out what you don't need to do, and then you delegate that to somebody. That's when you start multiplying the amount of hours that you are creating in a day. You guys with me? Cool. Okay. So here's are some of the strategies and the mindset that you want to do, right? You want to time block. The way you get the most out of your days, guys, is by treating the prospecting, presenting, and following up as the most important thing on your calendar, right? Would you not put your mother's birthday or your anniversary on the calendar? No, you block that out. Would you block out Christmas or Thanksgiving or New Year's? Of course you would. So there's nothing, that's what's important in the personal side of your life. Take a look at what's going on the business side of your life. There's nothing more important than prospecting, presenting, and following up. So you had better take the time and time block them on your calendar, right? What do I mean? Just open up your Google Calendar or Outlook or whatever calendar software you use. And if you're not using a software, a calendar software, shame on you. Do that today. I don't mean wait till tomorrow. I mean, do that tonight. Go online, figure it out, because you need it, and you need it to keep your calendar should take the place of your brain, because it should be so darn full that there's no time for anything else, or you can't possibly remember everything on it, right? So what I want you to do is go in there and time block every day. Time block your prospecting, time block your presenting, and time block your following up, right? Usually I do prospecting in the morning, then follow up, and then presenting is going to be the appointments that I set for the afternoon. Okay. Use your calendar. Now, this is a big one, guys. Use your calendar as your guide, not your inbox. Okay. What you do not want to do is use your inbox for, okay, an email came. Oh, no, I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to make phone calls. Pick a couple times a day to go through your email, right? If it's that urgent, they should pick you up, on the phone. If your house was burning down, is someone going to send you an email? No, they're going to pick up the phone and they're going to call you, right? You want your calendar to guide you through the day, not your inbox. Think of it this way, guys. When you're using your calendar to guide your day, that's on your time. That's your calendar, okay? You put things on your calendar that are important. People, your inbox, you are serving others. Your calendar, you're serving yourself. So if someone sends you an email, guess what? They need something from you, right? So do not be a slave to your inbox. Too many people. And guys, raise your hand, but type a 3 in the chat if you've ever felt like you were a slave to your inbox. You open up an email, and next thing you know, you got to do all this work, and it pulls you away from the things you really need to be doing. Jay's with me. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, Laura, big time, right? So you got to let your calendar be your guide, not your inbox. The other thing I was going to recommend, guys, in terms of productivity, it's called the Pomodoro method, right? Take an hour, divide it into 2 equal parts. You got 30 minutes and 30 minutes, right? They call this the Pomodoro method because they say it takes 25 minutes to cook spaghetti Pomodoro. I've never made it. I don't know, but it's a catchy thing. So what you do is you set a kitchen timer, those timers, right, for 25 minutes. What that means is you will focus on one activity and one activity only for 25 minutes. You have 5-minute break, and then you go and for the second half of the hour, you concentrate for 25 minutes straight, and then have a 5-minute break. You'll be amazed, guys, as once you start being able to focus and deep focus, how much work you can get done. Okay, so that is a really, really good one. If you want to start really getting the most and squeezing the most out of your time, it's by the Pomodoro method will help you really, really focus. The more you can focus, the more you get done. Okay, so control your day, control your income. I'm going to say that again. If you can control your day, you can control your income, right? Do you think Warren Buffett sits around and someone sends him an email? He's like, oh no, I got to take care of this. Oh no, I got to take care of this. No. That guy controls his day. Any CEO, anyone in a place of power, people respond to them. They don't respond to people. The more as an agent you can control your day, the more you control your income. Now, guys, I have been an agent for a very long time. One thing I do know is that feeling of urgency. You want to do the best you can for your client. I totally get that, and I'm not recommending against that. However, you do need to set boundaries. You do need to set expectations, right? What you don't want is you don't want clients that think that they own you and then they can call you at 10 o'clock at night or on the weekends. On commercial, it doesn't really happen very often, but I have fired clients, and I did this years ago. I had like a party when I fired my first client. I had 3 listings with this guy, but he texted me at 11 o'clock on a Thursday night to give me a hard time about something. And I said, nah, this isn't it. I texted him back. We'll handle this in the morning. I called him up. I said, thank you, but no, thank you. Not interested. This is not the business relationship. Guys, you have to control your boundaries. You have to respect your boundaries, or else nobody else will. Okay. And the metaphor I like to use is when you can control your day, when you can control the boundaries with your clients, right? It's the difference between, you know, if you're not in control, like you're trying to hang on to a tiger and it's pulling you through your day, versus you got that tiger tamed and you got that tiger on a leash, and that tiger goes where you want to with it, wherever you take it. You with me, guys? So that's super duper important, guys. Okay, now let's break it down. Why is prospecting so important? Because you recognize the 3 things I keep telling you: prospecting, presenting, and following up. Prospecting is always the first thing that comes out of my mouth. Why? Because it's the top of your sales funnel. And however much you put in the top of the sales funnel directly determines how much comes out from the bottom in terms of profit, right? The more you prospect, the more you earn. It is that simple, guys. You put 10 units in the top and 3 units come out of the bottom. Guess what? You put 20 units in the top, 6 units come out of the bottom. Guess what? The more you prospect, the more that comes out the bottom. Okay. And the important part about prospecting is that it helps you constantly generate new business. We have to adopt the mindset that when you wake up in the morning, you are unemployed and you need to go find work, right? Or another way of looking at it is wake up in the morning and say, somebody's got my money. Whose pocket is it in? You go out and you find it. It's like a fun little game, right? And the thing is with brokerage, we're not the decision makers. All we can do is lead that horse to the nice rippling water, but that horse sometimes doesn't drink, right? Sometimes that horse will not drink. So it's very, very important, guys. One of the only things that we can actually control in this process is how much prospecting we do. So it's very, very important, guys, that you do ample amount of prospecting every single day. I recommend 60 to 90 minutes at minimum, right? 60 minutes should get you 28 to 31 dials. 90 minutes should get you right around 50 dials, right? Now, if you can do that, if I told you that you can make $500,000 in this business every single year, and all it would take you is 90 minutes a day, 5 days a week, would you do it? Tell me, would you do it, guys? I tell you what, give me a 1 in the chat if you're willing to trade 90 minutes a day for $500,000 in this business a year, every year, right? You guys with me? I'll show you how to do it, okay? Because I do it, and I do it consistently, and some years are a lot more than 500,000, right? But the point is, you do 50 dials a day, you can make $500,000 a year in this business, period, end of story, okay? If not, you don't have the right skills, and that's why we're here, and we're here to sharpen those skills for you, okay? But you do not need to prospect for 4 hours a day. Hour and a half is all you need. You want to do 2, be a rock star, go ahead. But if you do 50 dials a day, you can make very, very good money in this business. Okay. So best time to call. This is a question I get all the time, guys, is when is the best time to call? Now, there's a couple things going on here. This chart came from Phone Burner, which is the phone software that I use. And it's a dialer, right? Now, a lot of people say, oh, no, I don't want to call people too early. I don't want people to call people too late, blah, 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 blah. These are the statistics, okay? Right, now check it out. Between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock, it's increasing. 8 o'clock is around 12%, 9 o'clock is 14%, and 10 o'clock is about 16% pickup, okay? The difference is, you will get more meetings between 8 o'clock and 8:15 in the morning than you will at any other time of the day. Can anybody tell me why? Put it in the chat. Take a guess. Martin, Jamie, Jay, take a guess, guys. Put it in the chat why you think you'll get more meetings from 8 to 8:15 than any other time that you prospect. Okay? Humor me. Let me know what you think. Because people are not busy yet. First person has a client here. Yup. Okay. Because think about it. Clients that are rolling out of bed at 9 or 10 o'clock, they're not that serious about their business. The ones that have their butts in the seats in offices at 8 o'clock in the morning before the world wakes up, those people are serious about business. And when you are a realtor or an agent and you're serious about your business, you ever heard that saying, game recognizes game, right? It's the same thing. People recognize when there's other hustlers out there. They respect that. So that when that phone picks up and someone's on the other end of the phone and they're sitting at their desk, guess what? That's a serious business person, and they recognize you as a serious business person because you're reaching out to them first thing in the morning, right? So my point is, even though there's only a 12% pickup rate at 8 o'clock in the morning, the people picking up are oftentimes the decision maker. Why, guys? Because the secretary, she comes in at 9 and leaves at 5, right? That doesn't really help you very much. So the best times of the day to get a hold of a decision maker, if you don't have their cell phone number, is before 9 o'clock and after 5:30, right? Those times are gold. Those are like the golden hours, right? It's absolutely amazing what you can get done in those times. Okay, guys? But this is so you want to look at mornings from 8 to 10. That's the best time to call. Evenings from 4 to 6 or so, okay? And Saturdays before noon. If you really want to be a rock star, dial for an hour on Saturdays. See what that does to your income. See if that doesn't add an extra $100,000 for putting in 1 hour per weekend. Trust me, guys. All you need, this business is such that, like here in the state of Florida, one extra deal is an extra $48,000 to your pocket. One. That's only if you get one side of it. 1.9 million. You do the math, right, guys? Sorry, that's for 1.6 million. That's nationwide. 1.9 here in the state of Florida is $54,000. One deal, guys, that you pick up calling people on a Saturday, that right there could be an extra $100,000 in your pocket. You guys don't grasp that. You need to, because that'll only make you understand how important the prospecting is. Okay, consistency of that prospecting is key. Deals are going to fall through. That's why I'm like before when I was mentioning, so what if a deal falls apart? So what if you don't try to babysit it? Because it's like trying to babysit a 100-year-old that's in ICU. Guess what? Some things, they're just going to fall apart. They're just not going to make it, right? But even when you have too much going on, or you think you have too much going on, I have so many deals going on, that's when you need to prospect the most. Why? Because if you sit on those deals are going to close or fall apart. Those are the only two options. They're going to close or they're going to fall apart. But the question is, have you been going out and looking for new business all that time? That's the only thing that's going to put money in your pocket 6 months from now. That phone call you make, that's money for a year from now. That phone call you make, that's money for 9 months from now, okay? That check that I cashed today, the one that I showed you, right? $200,000, guys. I prospected that in the fall of 2018. I don't know if you heard me. That was 3.5 years ago, guys. So the point is, you cannot, and this deal fell apart 3 times. 3 times it fell apart. I got it to the under contract, fell apart, new buyer, under contract, fell apart, new buyer, under contract, went through. Okay. So the point is, guys, if I sat there and babysat that, I would have taken new business in the last 3.5 years. You with me? All because I'm chasing one deal. Chase them all, you know, but what you need to do is you need to constantly be adding things into the top of that funnel. Keep throwing it in the top of the hopper. Okay, guys? Okay, so for that reason, we need to prospect first thing in the morning before the day gets going. Because how many of you guys have ever experienced, you know, it's like that what I call the calm before the storm? The phone around 10 o'clock starts ringing, 10:30 starts ringing. That's when other agents are like getting the sleep out of their eyes, getting done in the gym, this, that, and everything, right? That's when they're attacking their day. I got news for you guys. I set my alarm goes off at 4:53 every single morning. I'm in that gym at 6 o'clock. I'm at my desk by 8 o'clock. The reason being, you have to beat everybody else to the plate. The first one to home plate is the first one to swing for the fences, right? And that's how you do it. You adopt that mentality. That's how you're successful, by doing it sooner, by doing it faster, being the first one on the phone, the first one looking for opportunities. Early bird gets the worm, guys. Like this isn't like rocket science, I promise you. But all of these principles, if you live by these and you run your business by these, I promise you, there's more money than you can do, than you know what to do with, if you follow these principles and follow them like they're the laws of nature, like they're as consistent as gravity. All right. So like I said, there's a natural quietness in the day before 10 a.m. That's your new business time. No one's bothering you. Pop a cup of coffee in. Maybe you guys aren't early risers. become an early riser, because that's when opportunity is knocking. It's not out there at 6 or 7 or 8 o'clock at night. That's not where opportunity is. It's first thing in the morning, right, guys? Okay. Just remember, guys, in commercial, there's a very long sales cycle. Okay. Like I mentioned, that deal that closed that I just received a check from today, 3.5 years ago. So what you need to do, what happens is there's a natural detachment from your output, right? I should say of your input from your output. So like that call that I made in the fall of 18, here we are, a year post COVID, my effort is completely detached from my reward, right? So what you have to do is you have to use prospecting as your compass. You have to write down your numbers every day. You have to know how many dials you made, how many connects you made, how many meetings you placed, how many listings you got this month, and so forth. Because if you don't have that as your North Star, you're going to be like, nah, it doesn't work. Yeah, I don't like talking on the phone. I don't like talking to strangers. I don't want to feel like a telemarketer. Yeah, guess what? Telemarketers can drive very, very nice cars, promise you. All right. So why do we want to use the phone? Guys, if you're going to battle, would you rather use a bow and arrow? Would you rather use a knife, a machete, or a machine gun? Guys, that telephone is a machine gun. It's an automatic weapon. The only limit is how fast you can dial and how good your mouth is, right? It's the most highly leveraged use of time. There's people that want to go on around and knock on doors. Go ahead, knock till your knuckles bleed. I'll beat you, because in the time that it takes for you to knock on 20 doors, I call 50 people. Who's more likely to have success? And I call them on their cell phone, so I know it's in their pocket. You guys with me? Right? You don't have to be present. You can leave messages. When you knock on that door and that person isn't there, you leave your card, they're going to take that thing and they're going to throw it out. Versus you leave a voicemail that's sitting in their mailbox, and they either listen to it or they don't, but at least they saw your number come up, because everybody has caller ID nowadays, guys, right? There's a cumulative effect of you calling someone over and over and over again. You can also drop messages with certain softwares, and I can teach you guys about that, right? The best way to add rocket fuel to your prospecting is with a dialer, but that's only, number one, if you're prospecting enough, and number two, if you have enough people, that you've done enough research and have enough people to dial. All right. Does anybody have any questions at this point? Any questions? Let me know. Let me know, or forever hold your Reese's Pieces. Right. Okay. So, guys, final thoughts here. Just do it. Prospect, present, follow up. Do it more. I promise you, you will make more money. Okay. You can do some warm up dials, like I should say, the way you warm up your dials is going to be with letters and postcards. If you really want to have an excuse to call somebody, send them a letter, send them a postcard. Hey, Mrs. Jones, I just was calling you about the postcard I sent you last week. I'm not sure if you got it or not, but I was interested in your Second Avenue property. Wanted to see if I can help you with getting that sold. That's it. If you want an excuse to call someone, you got a perfect excuse. Send an email, send a letter, send a postcard, right? Like I said before, guys, track your numbers like your business depends on it, because it does, okay? The more you track your numbers, the more you can identify what works, what doesn't work, and what to do on it. Can you imagine a surgeon putting on a blindfold and just carving someone up? They would never do that. Why? Because it's dangerous. And number two, there's no feedback. But when they're doing open heart surgery and they can crack open the person and they can see their heartbeat, and they have an EKG, and they have an IV, and they have all these things that are checking the person's vital, that's how they do surgery. So they know, ooh, I do this, ooh, their blood pressure's dropping, better give them some more blood, or better give them some more medicine, or whatever it is that they do. But you need to have diagnostics on your business. You tracking your numbers is like having an EKG on your business. It checks the pulse constantly. You want to always know, okay, what's going on? Ooh, wait a minute, we're a little off right now. What's going on? Oh, maybe I didn't get enough dials in. Maybe I need to do some more research. Maybe my scripts aren't that good. Maybe my presentation has been a little bit off lately. There's so many different things that can happen, guys, okay? And also remember, guys, the first call is the hardest. So there's two things you can do. You can A, call a role play partner and role play your scripts first thing. That's one way of getting the first call out of the way. And the other thing is you can call previous clients. If let's say you've got 30 or 40 previous clients, you can call them, call one a day. If you wind up calling one a day, that's you wind up every 2 months. Let's say you had 40 of them. Every 2 months you wind up calling them. Number one, you'll get a ton of business from your previous clients because you call them 6 times a year, right? And the other thing is, it's a great way for you to warm up and get into business mode, right? Get yourself a dialer, guys. If you don't have a dialer, or first of all, get to prospecting. Next thing is, once you have enough people to dial, then you're gonna need to get a dialer. The other thing is, guys, get good at calling people on the phone. It becomes easier. When you have a script, you have a reason to call, you know when you should be calling, and you know how to do it properly, it gets so much easier. I was speaking to someone earlier today. It's like going into battle in the woods in the winter and going in naked, right? No shoes, no clothes, no nothing. You're freezing, you're stepping on branches, you're cold, you're miserable, you got hypothermia, versus having nice winter boots on, a nice wool hat, a parka, and a machine gun ready for battle, right, guys? That's the difference, is when you know what to do, you know who to reach out to, you know what to say, you know how to say it, and you know what to expect, because whatever they say, you know exactly what to say in that situation, because there's only about 4 or 5 ways that these things can go, right? So dialing by the phone, guys, finally, is the highest money producing activity, hands down, right? The highest money producing activity, hands down, because there's no other way that's more efficient. There's no other way that of creating a relationship and leaving a cumulative effect of the messages you leave with somebody. It's absolutely the best way to do business, still is, because we are not in a B2B, business to business. We're not in a B2C, business to consumer, right? We are in an H to H business. We are a human to a human, and a human responds when they hear someone's voice. They can feel their energy, right, guys? That is the most important part to understand.